So what's up guys, today I'm gonna discuss to you the summarization of Ccna 1. Let's start. The network infrastructure contains three categories of network components. First, the devices, second, media, and the third, services. Devices and media are the physical elements or hardware of the network. Hardware is often the visible components of the network platform such as a laptop, a PC, switch, router, wireless access point, or the cabling used to connect the devices. Services include many of the common network applications people use every day, like email hosting services and web hosting services. Processes provide the functionality that directs and moves the message through the network. Communication across a network is carried on a medium. The medium provides the channel over which the message travels from the source to destination. Modern networks primarily use three types of media to interconnect devices and to provide the pathway over which data can be transmitted. First is metallic wires within cables. Data is encoded into electrical impulses. Second is glass or plastic fibers. Data is encoded as pulses of light. And the third is wireless transmission. Data is encoded using wavelengths from the electromagnetic spectrum. Types of networks. Network infrastructure can vary greatly in terms of size of area covered, number of users connected, number and types of services available, and area of responsibility. Local area network or LAN, a network infrastructure that provides access to users and end devices in a small geographical area, which is typically an enterprise, home, or small business network or owned and managed by a individual or IT department. Wide area network or WAN, a network infrastructure that provides access to other network over a wide geographical area, which is typically owned and managed by a telecommunications service provider. Other types of network include Metropolitan Area Network or MAN, a network infrastructure that spans a physical area larger than a LAN but smaller than a WAN. MANs are typically operated by a single entity such as a large organization. Wireless LAN, similar to a LAN but wirelessly interconnects users and endpoints in a smaller geographical area. Storage Area Network or SAN, a network infrastructure designated to support files, servers, and provide data storage, retrievals, and replications. Intranets and extranets. Also, these are the two terms which are similar to the internet. Intranet is a term often used to refer to a private connection of LANs and WANs that belongs to a organization and is designed to be accessible only by the organization's members, employees, or other with authorization. An organization may use an extranet to provide secure and safe access to individuals who work for a different organization, but require access to the organization's data. Example of extranets include a company that is providing access to outside suppliers and contractors, a hospital that is providing a booking system. Internet access technologies. There are many different ways to connect users and organizations to the internet. Home users, teleworkers, and small offices typically require a connection to an internet service provider or ISP to access the internet. The connection options vary greatly between ISP and geographical locations. However, popular choices include broadband cables, broadband digital subscriber line or DSL, wireless WANs, and mobile services. Organizations typically require access to the other corporate sites and the internet. Fast connections are required to support business services including IP phones, video conferencing, and data storage. As new technologies and end users' devices come to market, businesses and consumers must continue to adjust to this ever-changing environment. These roles of the network is transforming to enable the connections between people, devices, and informations. There are several new networking trends that will affect organizations and consumers. Some of the top trends include bring your own devices, online collaborations, video communications, and cloud computing. Security threats. Network security is an integral part of computer networking, regardless of whether the network is limited to a home environment with a single connection to the internet or as large as a corporation with thousands of users. The network security that is implemented must take into account the environment, as well as the tools and the requirements of the network. It must be able to secure data while still allowing for the quality of services that is expected of the network. Securing a network involves protocols, technologies, devices, or tools and techniques to secure data and mitigate threats. Threat vectors may be external or internal. Many external network security threats today are spread over the internet. And these are the examples: viruses, worms, and Trojan horses, malicious software, and arbitrary code running on a user device. The next one is spyware and adware. Software installed on a user device that secretly collects information about the user. The third one is zero-day attacks, also called zero-hour attacks. An attack that occurs on the first day that a vulnerability becomes known. Hacker attack. An attack by a knowledgeable person to user devices or network resources. The fifth is denial or service attacks. Attacks designed to slow or crash applications and processes on a network device. Next one is data interception and theft. An attack to capture private information from an organization's network. Lastly, identity theft. An attack to steal the login credentials of a user in order to access private data. It is equally important to consider internal threats. There have been many studies that show that the most common data breaches happen because internal users of the network. This can be attributed to lost or stolen devices, accidental misuse by employees, and in the business environment, even malicious employees. With the evolving BYOD strategies, corporate data is much more vulnerable. Therefore, when developing a security policy, it is important to address both external and internal security threats. Device names. When configuring a network device, one of the first steps is configuring a unique device name or host name. Host names that appear in the CLI prompts can be used in various authentication processes between devices and should be used on topology diagrams. If the device name is not explicitly configured, a factory assigned default name is used by the Cisco IOS. The default name for the Cisco IOS switch is switch. If all networks devices were left with their default names, it would be difficult to identify a specific device. For instance, when accessing a remote device using SSH, it is important to have confirmation that you are connected to the proper device. By choosing name wisely, it is easier to remember documents and identify network devices. Guidelines for hostname configuration are communication fundamentals. A network can be as complex as devices connected across the internet, or as simple as two computers directly connected to one another with a single cable, and anything in between. Networks can vary in size, shape, and functions. However, simply having a wired or wireless physical connection between end devices is not enough to enable communication. For communication to occur, devices must know how to communicate. Device selection for a small network. In order to meet user requirements, even small network requirements planning and design. Planning ensures that all requirements, cost factors, and the deployment options are given due to consideration. When implementing a small network, one of the first design considerations is the type of network intermediate devices to use to support the network. When selecting the data type of intermediate devices, there are a number of factors that need to be considered. Key difference: OSI has 7 layers, whereas TCP or IP has 4 layers. The OSI model is a logical and conceptual model that defines network communications used by system open to interconnection and communication with other systems. OSI refers to open systems interconnection, whereas TCP or IP refers to transmission control protocol. Decapsulation is the process of opening up encapsulated data that are usually sent in the form of packets over communication network. It can be literally defined as the process of opening a capsule, which in this case refers to encapsulated or wrapped up data. In computer networking, encapsulation is a method of designing modular communication protocols in which logically separate functions in the network are abstracted from their underlying constructions by inclusions or information hiding within higher level objects. And that's all. Thank you for watching.